Welcome to The Warm-Up, a Bailiwick Express podcast giving you an insight into the sports action that is on the horizon. Hello, I'm Nick Mann, and it's under 21 Muratti time. Head coach Jordan Kelly gives us an insight into his side's preparations to face a much-hyped Jersey team, and we touch on how Guernsey football is looking to develop over the coming years. Jordan, thanks for coming in. We've just literally coming in on the Friday, and an hour ago we had the news that the fixture's been switched to Foots Lane. Does that affect your preparation at all?
A little bit, because obviously we prepare for the track, but ultimately if it means the game can go ahead at the expected date, then we'll adapt and overcome. And actually, GFC play there, so majority of our players are used to playing there, and it is quite a nice place to play, so it won't affect our preparations as such, but obviously it could have a little impact given the change in venue and pitch and stuff like that.
And what's the mood like in the camp at the moment?
It seems very positive. They're a very, very, very social group who know each other really well. So we had a good social training session last night. And I think it seems fairly positive. It's a really good technical group that have a real desire to want to win and improve. So,
and I think we're coming at this fixture earlier in the season than normal. How does that impact the chance you have to prepare the sides and in terms of the players as well, how prepared they are?
So yes, obviously it's slightly different. There's two ways to look at it. Normally later on in the year you could say you have a little bit more preparation, but the fact that the under-21 has now got its own weekend away from where some players could be involved in the under-18s, some could be involved in the seniors, so they kind of flit in between potentially three different groups. So in one sense they could have more specific time focus on them, but obviously it's earlier on in the year. So I'm happy with the preparation. Would we have liked more time? Of course, if you're a coach, I think that any coach will say they love as much time as possible. But actually, I think we're prepared pretty well.
Can you take us through what work you've been doing with the players and when that began?
Yeah, so we probably began, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So we had 2 lots of trials. Last week's weather put a little bit of dampener on our preparations then, but then we had another game this week. We had a nice little training session last night. We'll do another one tomorrow, and then we play Sunday. But the players have been given a lot of information within the group to read and observe and learn. And ultimately, some of them are quite high-level players, so quite experienced already.
I just thinking back in the way that football has changed in how you prepare players. You mentioned there about giving the players information. What kind of information are you doing? How does that differ to what you'd have been doing 10 years ago?
Yeah, so I'm looking back from when I was a player, and there's a lot more stats, there's a lot more technical emphasis on the ball rather than it might have used to have been, right, let's just play quite direct and play territory. It's now a bit of a hybrid. And finding the best ways to get. So whereas maybe 10 years ago it was, right, I had a system and players, you have to play in that way. Actually, how can you get the best out of each player? So when you're an individual, you give 100%. Within a team, it can sometimes filter out. So I look at how can I get the best out of each individual collectively within that. And it might have to mean a little bit of adjustments to the way I'd like to play ideally. But actually there's plenty of positives to that. And yeah, I think for me the biggest element is just having a group that wants to play for each other and play for the badge, rather like technical, tactical, fine. But if you haven't got a team that's willing to want to win and play for each other, I think for me that's the most important bit I've emphasised. And
I guess the carrot against playing against Jersey always adds that extra element to it as well. Yeah,
it certainly does. I know from again playing, it's that one game when you're a player that you want to be involved in, and it's that one game at every season you're like, that's what I want to be a part of. And it's a weird one because ultimately the part of psychology is it's just another football game. We put the importance of it as players and coaches, but there's a trophy and bragging rights at the end, but actually it's just 22 players plus extras and subs going out to kick a ball around. And we put the importance of it. So I'm hoping to keep that mentality of just enjoy yourselves and play another game.
Because I guess as a coach, there has got to be that role in that you want your players keyed up and on it for this match, but you don't want to be overstepping the mark so that actually you've gone too far. And is that harder with a younger age group as well?
I think it's quite fortunate with the 21s that there's a mixture. So we're going to range from 16-year-olds to 21. So there's a real vast range of experience where some players are lucky been involved in an Island Games or in the seniors. So for them, they're a bit more emotionally controlled, as some of the younger players who for this could be their first experience in a Muratti is so again, managing those individuals of, right, some players might need a little bit more G-in, some are like, right, just chill out a little bit here. I try not to talk about the occasion too much, because, do you know what I mean, if you don't understand the occasion, then you're probably struggling a little bit. But yeah, it can be with the younger players. So if I look at the other age groups, I coach the 16s and the 18s, that might be a bit more challenging because they've not had such exposure. So some of the 16s, they've never played against Jersey, and their emotionally regulated is a little bit different. So, but yeah, the 21s, I think they'll be all right. They're quite an excitable group.
And for anyone coming down on Sunday, what style of football can we expect? What can we expect from the game?
Let's try and word this without giving away too much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So ultimately for me, it's a case of it's being sensible. Like a lot of it, so I give suggestions, but ultimately the players are out there, the ones who are playing, and with the experience of the group, they're clever enough to read the game. I like to play a bit of a hybrid between retaining the ball, but actually sometimes let's go and play some territory. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for pretty football, but sometimes you just got to be a bit more ruthless and shoot and put your body on the line, or a little bit of a dark art. So ultimately, when you talk to any player, like, they enjoy winning. So how can they find the best way to put themselves in a place to win?
And you speak about winning. There must also be a role in this fixture in terms of developing Guernsey football as well, and how it feeds into the senior game.
Massively, massively. I've spoken to all the players individually, and do you know what I mean? They, as players, they're only focused on winning or losing, or winning and learning. I don't believe in losing, but as coaches, our job is to put them in the best place so they can hopefully have a positive experience. But ultimately, if we can provide them and educate them to get better players with a view to potentially whether they go into Prio, they could go off island into GFC, they've got a good core of experience of operating as a senior, basically.
What do you know about the Jersey side as well?
It's one of them. So we do our research. We got a couple of people that do research on them behind the scenes. We know some of them from their seniors, from them from 18s, from them from last year. But we know they're always going to give a good battle, right? They're always going to give a good battle. They're always physical. Some of them play similar with us at Jersey Bulls. Some of them play local football. Some are away in the UK. They're very good technical. Will always give a good battle, and we'll see what happens, right?
And from your perspective, obviously, just give us a bit of background of your coaching with Guernsey and how you've ended up in this role as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I probably started when I was 14, voluntary, in the academy, doing a little bit of the goalkeeping. Then, as I left school, I jumped into like a development officer's role, probably when I was 17, and then for the last 6-7 years, just been progressing with that. Started with the under 11s as a manager. Then within the last 18 months, I've now taken on the under 16s, the under 18s, and now under 21s. I've got my UEFA badge in coaching, as well as doing all the goalkeeping. The goalkeeping is my speciality. That's my area where I coach under 7s to seniors. And now doing a little bit of work with some ex-Premier League guys in the UK, so getting a real vast experience of coaching as well as assisting at GFC now. So a real range of coaching, and it's good to get it at such a young age.
What's been the draw for you to get into that side of the game?
I always say it to people when they ask me, so I've recently just stopped playing. I now get more of a buzz from helping and educating people. So if I look at Josh Addison at Guernsey FC, for example, where I'm the goalie coach, I get a bigger buzz from seeing him make a save than myself. And I think I just like helping and educating people using my experiences and making a difference. Whether that's like as a person before a player foremost. But yeah, I just love coaching, and I don't know. It's just you get the same excitement of a match day and preparation and training without having to do the running around, I suppose. But yeah, I think just helping and educating really is a draw for me.
And just moving on a little bit as well into the structure of Guernsey football and where we're at the moment. So we've obviously a bit of a run on the senior Muratti side. Yeah. We've last two under 21s. I think I was just reading back on the last match report where it seemed like it was put across as a bit of a dominant performance by Jersey. That's happened a couple of times. So what are we doing that will turn that around?
So we've just had a massive... So it might take a couple of years to show the fruition of what we've done. But so Ross, Alan, Gary and myself, we put a lot of work into revamping the academy. So we've put a more emphasis on, you can call it an elitist culture. So there's now a maximum of 16 players per age group. So and they've also introduced a high performance centre for the top quartile of the group. So we're now pushing players at every level, trying to make it a more competitive element. Will there be disappointment in it? Actually, that might help players learn and become motivated. And obviously we've now got a real structure within that. You get into the older age groups in the academy. They've now got dedicated coaches where they train every week or every other week with set game programs. So there's a lot of stuff that's now happening, which is really, really exciting. It's great to be a part of, great to observe. And yeah, it might take a couple of years to see fruition. If we look at Guernsey FC right now, we've got a very, very young squad, which is brilliant. So yeah, and then we've got our stadium project. So the next probably 2 to 5, 6, 7 years is very exciting for Guernsey football.
I mean, then the stadium coming along must be such a great injection for the game as well, to have that home coming back.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very exciting project. It's one of those that I look at the where we used to work, and I'm like, I can't imagine it. I can't imagine having a nice stadium there, but it'll be an absolute game changer for us to have a base for Guernsey football at all levels. And hopefully, if we look at what Jersey done with Springfield, hopefully that will then elevate us and give us a more progressive pathway for players again.
And just finally, are we going to win on Sunday?
I believe so. If you don't believe, right? I hope so. I really, really do. We've got a good group.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
That was the warm-up. Thanks again for listening. Please like and subscribe for more. You can find all our sports news on gsy.bailiwickexpress.com and on all our social channels. Sign up to our daily email to keep up to date on all the work the Express team does.